Okay, let's do a little bit of a market health checkup here. We're going to look at some of the major indices, uh, volatility, and some of the leading gainers and losers. See what's going on, try to get a feel for what's going on in the markets here. I don't rehearse any of this stuff. I'm just going to play it by ear, and we're just going to analyze some charts just like I would do weekly. Sit down and look at my charts. So this is a NASDAQ composite. It's probably one of the most overbought sectors since the COVID crash. And we have this long-term rising channel. And we've broken out well above this channel, which is a bit concerning. And now we have crossed under the 50 moving average. We reacted to the 100 moving average at the bottom of the cloud here. Came back, tried to break out of the cloud again and failed. So this is looking kind of weak. This is a little bit concerning here. This is resistance. See the flat area of the cloud here. And we got the downtrending Kijunsen line now. We had a TK cross going down right up here. So that was your momentum sell signal. So this is kind of, we have a little bit of a conflict going on here because now we've crossed going back up. But the candlesticks are still below Tinkinson. So Tinkinson's reacting to what happened here. Broke above the cloud and failed. Now we're testing the bottom again. So we're kind of bouncing around here inside this cloud. And the interior of the cloud represents indecision. Price could break either direction. So the market's kind of undecided whether this uptrend can continue or if we need to pull back more. Just looking at this long-term rising channel, like I say, it's just the market's looking pretty risky here, at least for the NASDAQ composite. So I'd be careful about piling into new positions. I'm just holding my investable stocks long. Facebook just had a nice breakout. We can look at that here in a little bit. Russell 2000, pretty overextended, but it's trying to continue here. It's a lot like the NASDAQ composite. So we're at the top of the rising channel here, long-term rising channel. Broken above the top. I think if this breaks down below this 50 moving average, we could see some significant selling pressure in small cap stocks within the Russell 2000. They've already been under pressure. A lot of those small caps have been under a lot of pressure. The Qs showing signs of a breakdown as well. I just covered this in one of my other videos. We've got resistance here from the flat area of the cloud, and we have a downtrending Kijunsen line. We had our TK cross momentum sell signal right here. We're attempting to form another cross going back up. So it almost feels like the market's trying to find a bottom here. But we're just so overextended that there's reason to be very skeptical about that. So we don't necessarily try to predict where markets are going to go. We interpret the charts the best we can. So right now it looks like we may have some more selling pressure in store. These patterns can take time to work out. They can take months. We'll see where that goes. S&P 500. Still going pretty strong. Some of the S&P 500 stocks have kind of underperformed compared to the NASDAQ and Russell 2000. We are near the top of a rising channel here. So, but look how long we stayed at the top of this channel here. You never know how long you can stay overextended. So I always like to keep some cash in my account, my investment account. I've been in about 30% cash since the COVID crash, and I really piled into a lot of stocks down in here after we looked like we were going to have a V-shaped recovery. So they've done well, and I feel like I've got a good foothold, a good entry area, and I'm willing just to ride out some waves. So this still looks intact. The uptrend is intact. The other ones are looking extended, and the uptrend looks like it's failing. The Dow, it's been pretty strong. Getting a little overextended here, showing some signs of weakness, trying to hold this fast rising Tinkinson line. So looking at all these charts combined, I would say we're in for a little more selling pressure, possibly coming around the bend here soon. Volatility is looking a little oversold. So the further away we get from the cloud and the 50 moving average here, the more oversold we are. We can stay oversold for quite some time, as we saw here. And we're starting to get a little oversold there, it looks like. Okay, let's look at my watch list with a lot of trending names that come up a lot in social media, that stuff like GameStop, which GameStop's kind of been trapped between an area of support and resistance. It looked like this support was going to fail. So we've got this Kijinsen line here, which has actually started to curve down. And we have the Tinkinson above the Kijinsen. Tinkinson is curving up, but price is below it. So this looks like I'm expecting this to fail. I've been expecting this to fail for quite some time, actually, because this is resistance here, but this thing's been kind of surprising. And I think people are trading this for the wrong reasons. I think they're all just it's a bunch of greedy people trying to chase this thing and pump it up. When I look at the long-term trend, does this spike make sense to you? How long do you think this can continue? Okay, this stock sucked well before COVID. So I know this started out as a short squeeze, a lot of hype. It just looks like this looks ready to fail to me. But I thought the same about AMC. This chart looks very similar, but AMC is actually broken above this resistance here. But we have a lot of resistance up in this area, this previous high. So it's another thing just to watch carefully. But right now it's trending. The Tinkinson line is above Kijinsen. We've broken above the cloud. I would look for it to hold this Tinkinson line to stay in the trade. This could possibly go back to $17 to $20 range, and then but I think at some point when it finally decides to break and people want to get their profits, like we saw here, there's this huge drop right here. Then we tried to go back up, and I think it's extremely high risk, especially getting in right here. You're pretty late for the party right here. So I'm not trading this. I just watch it, and I use it to learn from. 5-year trend. See, this doesn't really look like a buying opportunity to me. This chart sucked long before COVID. We can draw a long-term descending trend line here, which we, looks like we've, well, what do you think of that? We're right there. We're a little above it. So I've been expecting this to break down for a while now, and it's just hanging tough. It's been kind of interesting and surprising, really. I really thought it was going to fail at this technical resistance area. This is one that this is a trade that I took here, just kind of experimental, really, but we're trying to hold the 50 moving average, and price began trending above the Tinkinson here. So right around here is where I bought it. I have a small loss right now, but the chart still looks bullish to me. Almost like we're going to try to form a little uptrend right here. So this is kind of what I want to see. I want to see this maintained to stay in this trade. Looked like we were going to break out here and we failed, but we do have resistance up here. There's a couple areas of resistance to watch out for. Excuse me. A lot of technical damage done with this gap down here. We had our moving average cross. The cloud is pretty straight up and thin. So it's a high risk trade. It's kind of a gamble, really. I'm not even quite sure why I took the trade, but we'll see how it plays out. Right now, it still looks a bit bullish to me, with areas of resistance to watch out for. Tilray, I was short this stock when it was trending below the Tinkinson line here, but now that is shifted, and I stopped out with a little bit of a loss. Now we're rolling back under it here. We're trying to hold this 50 moving average. So if you want to trade this, I would trade this 50 moving average and watch out above, because this is all resistance up here. The previous top, this is pretty much a blow off top right here. Just a huge bearish engulfing candle. Usually something like this indicates a bearish future for medium or long term, which is why I liked it short. Short position trade on that. Tesla is still struggling. This major resistance here around 705 and 760 is key resistance. So I want to see price back above 760 here to really get bullish on this. We're getting a downtrending red cloud now. So Friday was interesting with some of these. Let's see, I was short plug power, and I actually closed that one because it looked like Friday was a bit of a reversal. Maybe we're just getting a little oversold here, but see, we didn't make a new low. We had this wick here, this long wick here, which is where I took profits on my first short position trade, and got rejected at the cloud. And we tested this area again, and then we had a pretty big bullish candle Friday. So I closed my short position again. I took some quick profits, and I'm good with that for right now. We'll see what it does. We're still trending below Tinkinson, so technically price is still bearish. This kind of looked like a reversal to me. Like this is about as low as it wants to go for right now. There was some negative news that's hurt this stock, but it seems like it's trying to find support here at this $34 range. Let's see, why would that be? Let's see, we had this. So this was resistance, and then we broke out. Look how we gapped up above this resistance right here. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting area of support. We'll see if it can hold. So it's normal for price to react to a support area like this. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's just going to take off to the moon from here. It's just reacting there and it can take some time before that breaks down if that's what it's going to do. So we'll watch and see how that plays out. Let's see, where was I up here? Tesla, CLOV, this stock has gotten pummeled. Serious momentum downtrend, overextended, and see how we reacted here. This may pull back some more. We've got this downtrending Kijinsen lines getting ready to hammer down on price here, so that thing's just kind of a bloody mess. Let's see, I'm not even sure. MATX. Not sure how or why I started watching this one, but trend has been pretty strong, but we're getting some consolidation, kind of a consolidation mess right here, but it does seem to be holding the 50 moving average so far. Long-term chart, overextended. This steep of a rally doesn't continue forever. Overall, I do see an uptrend here, but this thing trades pretty wildly if you're willing to endure drops from $25 down to $5, $8. That was a huge drop right there. Let's see. Right now it still looks bullish. It just looks like it's weakening here. We're pulling back. 50 moving average would be my basis for a trade on this, and then of course the cloud. CTRM looks like it's failing. We had the TK cross here, trying to react to the 50 moving average. Resistance right here at this flat bottom at about $1.06. Let's see. CVAT. This is a penny stock that came up in a conversation somewhere, and I have a friend that likes penny stocks, so I pointed out this pattern here, which it did break out from this pattern, but now it's just kind of looks like it's just consolidation here. So it's responding nice to the 50 moving average, which is price is getting close to it. So this pattern is still a little bit interesting if you like penny stocks, but I think it's a little overextended here. Long term, it's one of those patterns I look at that I just say, yuck. This chart. Let's see. HUGE. This thing is trying to form a trend line here, but it looks like it's might be starting to fail. I don't really like the way this trades. That is a huge bearish engulfing candle right there. I think this is undergoing some technical damage here. Long-term chart, don't like that. See, this little uptrend right here is pretty meaningless compared to all this. Oh, I don't like that chart. Excuse me. SOS has been pretty popular. Pretty stiff resistance right here. Technical damage from this drop. Some of these big momentum stocks have just gotten pummeled during the last correction, and I think this technical damage could be lasting damage and see these things trend down. But you never know. We need to see, long-term trend. It looks like there's definitely been a change in sentiment for this stock. We had this nice descending channel here that's pretty much been broken. I just look overextended here. And just long term, I don't really like this chart. For short-term swing trade, I need to see another TK cross. But then we've got this big top here, so I don't really like trading this. It just looks way too risky. BLOK. Pretty wild swings here. TK cross, price trending above Tinkinson, approaching the top here, resistance. Looks like trading the 50 moving average right here worked well. Pull back to the 50 average or the cloud would be possibly an opportunity to enter this. This thing has been on a tear. Yeah, that trend is awfully steep. Trends like this can be very, very risky. I don't usually trade stuff like that. It's interesting to look at. Short-term swing trades, you know, this pullback to the 50 worked out well. We went from, let's see, $45 to $58. ZOM, I'm in this trade. Looked like it was breaking out of a bull flag pattern, and it tried to break out and basically failed. Now we're back to basically consolidation here. This looks like good support right here at $1.53 or so. The 50 moving average is providing good support, and we're right here at the top of the cloud on the 50 average. So I'm still bullish on this trade. We've had a TK cross, but price has fallen below the Tinkinson, so that's not a real encouraging sign. But I'm in this trade. I'm at a little bit of a loss right now. I got some shares at 217. I bought a little more at 200 yesterday, or at $2. Looks like it's holding $2 right now. It seems to be responding at the $2 range. We had some attempted sell-offs here, and buyers came in and supported it. And daily close of $1.75. So I think anything below $1.75 would be a buy opportunity if it gets there again. $2. So I'm looking for this to potentially break out again, but it is awfully overextended. I know a lot of people like this stock. Sentiment seems strong, so I'm optimistic that this is going to run again. Just need to watch out at this previous top at up near $3, $2.85, $2.90, right about $2.90. A break above $2.90 and see how we broke the previous top right here. We put in a nice couple nice bullish candles. So let's see, we went from $1.50 to almost $3. So that was almost 100% gain after we broke this resistance right here. So I still like that chart. EV stocks, this IDEX, these things kind of rolled over. Long-term trend, I look at this chart. It's another one I just kind of say yuck. Okay. Sentiment for EV stocks was pretty strong, but it just seems like they're overhyped and this is going to burn off. So I'm actually bearish on EV stocks, but you never know. I mean, investor sentiment's been strong. We could see this thing start holding this 100 moving average. But there's a lot of technical damage done here. TK cross, we're below the cloud, below Tinkinson right here. It just takes time for these patterns to work out, as I keep saying. You know, they keep testing, trying to go up, and eventually break down. So I'm not bullish. I'm really not bullish on EV stocks right now at all. I've been shorting some of them. Kodak, don't like the way this trades, but it's kind of been, after this big gap up right here, it's just been consolidating here. It looks kind of dead. Just consolidation. Probably just take it off my watch list. NEO. I know there's been some strong investor sentiment with this one, and it was a pretty hot stock. If you manage to get in this Kumo breakout right here, of course it's hard to see that coming with the way this thing traded in the past. It just all of a sudden, so we had this resistance here, this previous high here that we broke out of. Let's see, let's look at a long term. That's the longest I can get right there. So this was the biggest resistance area right here, and we gapped up pretty good, closed above it. Let's put a line right there because this is kind of interesting. Okay, so we gapped above it and came back down and tested it, and then it was off to the races. And we're getting good responses off the 50 moving average. Tinkinson, Keatinson staying bullish. We had a TK cross right here, which can be a sell signal, but for a long-term swing trade, the 50 and the cloud are really your last defense. So right here, we broke down below those. TK cross up here, broke down below the 50. Came up here, tested it, and failed again. Ultimately broke down below the cloud. Big momentum sell-off. Way oversold right here. I took a short position profits on this one too. Actually, I think I took profits when I saw this bullish move right here. So this is just an oversold pullback, it looks like to me. And this is resistance, the top of this flat top of the cloud, and a downtrending Keatinson here, which is curving down again right now. So I'm not bullish on NEO right now. I think it's it's just overbought. I know some people think it's a good long-term hold. When I look at a long-term chart, this trend just seems unsustainable. It's just too steep, but we'll see. I'd look for it to at least hold this 200 moving average. That's definitely your last line of defense, that 200 moving average. When that fails and we start to get these other moving averages cross, the 50 crossing the 100 and then ultimately the 200. So we will see with that. But I wouldn't be getting bullish on it right here. I don't like bottom fishing. I like to wait for confirmation of a new uptrend, which would be TK cross, price staying above Tinkinson, and back above the cloud. So as long as you're below the cloud, the trend is down. Let's look at a weekly chart. So on a weekly chart, we're still above the cloud, but we're starting to get a TK cross going down. Price is staying below Tinkinson on the weekly chart. This is looking bearish. Same as the daily chart. It just so I would avoid looking for long positions in this unless we can see the orientation back to being bullish, like you see here. Daily, okay. Roblox, this was a recent IPO. That is a pretty big red candle right there. I don't like I don't like messing with these unless you're day trading, because there's just not enough chart history to really base anything. I'm seeing maybe you could start to draw a trend line right here. Okay. You can draw your imaginary trend line and look for that to hold if you're interested in trading that. There's not enough chart history to conclude anything with technical analysis. Plug Power, we already covered that one. Genius Brands, this is one I'm in that's doing pretty good. We're back at the top of this rising channel. and look for buy opportunities along the bottom of this trend line here. So I got interested in this. Well, I started watching it with all this huge spike up over here, but I don't trade. I don't chase momentum like that. And then of course people just got pummeled. So there's a lot of haters with this stock. These people that just got pummeled here, thinking, trying to buy this dip or whatever they were doing, or they chased it way up here because it was going to the moon, right? Yeah, that was the moon right there, $10. But then we put in this double bottom at about $1. So based on this double bottom and what I saw going on here, I decided to buy some. I kind of like the story. I've looked into the company a little bit, and I kind of like the story. So it's my speculative play. It's forming a new rising trend line here. So I kind of like that. DraftKings has been strong, a little overextended. I look for pullbacks. Been watching this since the beginning here, and I need to wait for it to provide more chart information so I can start to see basically what I'm seeing here is a rising trend line. So I'd want to see that hold. Givo, I closed my short position on this with just a small profit because price action indicates undecided. We're bouncing around inside the cloud here. It could go either direction. My bias is towards the downside. I know people like the story of this, and it's been pretty bullish, but the technicals are breaking down here. So I need to see price back above the cloud, above the Keynesian line, and a TK cross, as I mentioned with all these others. So price right now is undecided and a bit bearish. Cloud's getting real thin and kind of twisting. We got red, now we're trying to go back to green. This line right here represents a very long-term descending trend line I drew. Another one of these long-term charts that I look at and I just say yuck. So I'm very skeptical about this trade, but it is interesting. If we can break this and begin forming a new uptrend here, but I think this trend right here, this is just too steep to be a trend. This is a huge momentum rally. This needs to stabilize, maybe come down and back up to start forming a sustainable trend line, I think. But these things can surprise. There are no set rules that what it can and can't do. Okay, we just read the charts. So right now we're kind of trapped between support and resistance and undecided. These moving averages are rolling over a bit, flattening out. So I'm watching this. My bias is, like I say, I closed my short position and I'm not long either. I'm just watching right now. All right, that's good for right now. Hope that helps. I don't get into a lot of fundamentals, just basically analyzing technicals to try to teach you guys to swing trade using technicals in spot areas or buy and sell signals. And I think I'll try doing a video just about Ichimoku and how I use it, which you're probably getting a good idea of how I use it just watching my videos. So, and there's a lot of other videos on YouTube that describe it probably better than I would. So, anyway, that's it for now.